Live from the Wallace family homestead and City National Arena.
Off the boards, a strip for Dorothea. Works to the middle, and a shot. And it's in! Top left corner from Dorothea.
This is the VGK Insiders Show.
Anderson shoots, Hurdle the rebound. He scores! Tomas Hurdle!
With Daren Millard and Ryan Wallace.
Michael finds a right circle. He goes to the bottom of the circle. He threw it across. They score! Dorothea! Pandemonium on the strip. Vegas 3, Ducks 2.
On Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Welcome in, Vegas Golden Knights Insider Show, Fox Sports Las Vegas. Ryan Wallace, Daren Millard, Jared Justice hanging out with you for the next 2 hours as the Golden Knights win 3-2 in overtime. Pavel Dorofeev, the hero. And the Golden Knights take a 3-2 series lead over the Anaheim Ducks with a chance to close out the series tomorrow in Anaheim. How we doing, boys? Okay. We're waiting.
I do not
Daren
believe we have Daren quite yet. I am working on it, and but I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm having the best day ever.
You sound light, Jared Justice. That's all I can say. You sound light. We got a jam-packed show for you today. We've got Brian McCormack joining us around 4:25, 4:30 to just give an overview, obviously, of and recap of the Henderson Silver Knights. Obviously, a lot of really good things happened this year in Henderson, so we'll bring Brian McCormack on to touch on all of those things. Also, in the 5 o'clock hour, we've got Alexis Downie. She's with Ducks Stream pre- and post-game. Had her on the pregame show just a couple of games ago. Tremendous stuff there from Alexis Downie. So we're going to dig into the Anaheim Ducks side of things as they face elimination for the first time in this postseason. But for the Golden Knights, again, the reality of the situation is they find a way through a ton of adversity in game number 5. And we can start off with, the big moment in the game, and that was early on. Brayden McNabb assessed a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for an interference call on Ryan Poehling. It ensued with a 5-minute major the Golden Knights were trying to kill off. They just surrender a goal, then get a power play goal of their own to break even once again in the series. First game in this postseason, or in this series against the Anaheim Ducks that featured a lead change. And for the Golden Knights, it comes out the right way. It comes out as you'd hope for from a Golden Knights perspective. They were able to find a way, and that really is kind of the benefit of this team and their experience, right? They dealt with a lot of different things in the game yesterday. We touched on Brayden McNabb, who did not play the rest of the game, obviously, and they dealt with a stretch of time in the second period without Pavel Dorofeev. He was able to come back and score the game winner. So Daren, is joining us now as we're talking about how the Golden Knights, through adversity yesterday, found a way to push the to push the Ducks to the brink of elimination.
Yeah, you have to grind it out every now and then. That we're putting together our rundown, our plan of attack for the television pregame show tomorrow night, and one of the things you'll hear in our angle in our conversation with John Tortorella from earlier today and his media availability is you have to find different ways to win in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and this series in particular jumps out to me, and this is why I went down the path with Torts earlier today, is they have 3 wins in the 5 games. And they've all come in very different fashions. You had what you call a goalie win in game number 1. You had the offense breaking out in game number 3. And last night, you needed to just find a way. You had to, for lack of a better term, grind one out against the Anaheim Ducks in adverse situations with the loss of Brayden McNabb and getting through the 5-minute penalty kill that resulted in 1 goal against, but didn't bury you in the game. You had to find a way to show some resolve in the third period when you give up a goal. You had to come out in overtime and once again come through in clutch time, very challenging time, high pressure time, and they passed in all 3 of those circumstances. So I thought it was interesting how, when you look back on this series in particular, how this team has showed versatility in their depth and being able to win games in very different fashions. And you don't want to have to go through what you did last night. You certainly don't want to have to lean on your goaltender the way you did in game number 1 of this series. But sometimes that's what's required. You have to have dominant performances in one area that makes up for shortcomings in others or adverse situations in others. And that's what they got last night with 5 defensemen playing for basically 55 minutes of that game.
Yeah, I mean, really, it comes down to, can you find ways when it's not exactly there for you, or you're facing that adversity? Like we touched on Braden McNabb being gone, missing Pavel Dorofeev in the second period after blocking a shot, finding ways to kind of put aside the fact that the Ducks were able to push and find a goal to tie things up in the third period. And, you look at the way the Golden Knights started overtime until they scored the goal. Like, Vegas came out looking for that goal. They came out looking.
Didn't allow a shot.
Game. No, they didn't. And I thought they were tremendous. The response from the late goal to when Vegas scored in overtime was absolutely fantastic from that team. They went out looking for it, not hoping for it.
I don't think that this would be the overriding thought, but I was aware. You were probably thinking it. It wasn't a good night to be down to 5 defensemen and missing one of your key players, in the sense of the game goes to overtime and you've been without Braden McNabb for 55 minutes. If that thing goes deep, there's a lot of wear and tear on those 5 defensemen. So was it the plan? Go out, win it early, or end it early? No, because you don't want to force it too much. That would be oversimplifying the situation. But the way it worked out was certainly a benefit to the Vegas Golden Knights, and they're going to have to do it again in Game 6 with the news coming down that Braden McNabb has been suspended 1 game by the NHL's Department of Player Safety, and I'm somewhat surprised by that.
Yeah,
I was expecting more of what we saw with. Remember, Nick Waugh had a hearing and did not suffer any type of supplemental discipline. And in looking at last night, it wasn't malicious in any kind. The play, the severity of it, and the injury to Ryan Poehling was certainly, and I don't think because of the way it played out and because the puck wasn't there, I think it certainly fell under the guidelines of a major penalty. But because of the timing of it and early on in the first period and the fact that Vegas had to go the distance with 5 defensemen and Braden McNabb, for lack of 3 minutes of ice time, basically missed a full game, and then equating to the formula that is operated under. It's a loose formula by Player Safety Department that a playoff game suspension is equal to 2 regular season games. And I looked at that last night, and I didn't see 2 regular season games. I could see one, certainly, and I saw that last night. So if you're going to suspend Braden McNabb 1 regular season game, well, you basically got it last night. And I was hopeful, cautiously optimistic, let's call it that, that Braden McNabb, who plays the game very hard, but is very much within the guidelines. He doesn't walk the line in the prototypical fashion of somebody that's out there looking to test the boundaries at all. He just plays the game really hard with his physical nature, and I thought that would have played more of a role into this hearing with George Parros and the player safety department. They saw it otherwise, and the result is that the Golden Knights will be without Braden McNabb's services for game number 6, and it will require some adjustments on the back end. You will likely see Caden Korzak come in, and you'll be further tested on the depth part of your blue line, because I don't anticipate Jeremy Lauzon returning. I have not heard anything of that ilk. So you'll be without two of your 6 defensemen from that first round victory over the Utah Mammoth that will go in or won't be able to play tomorrow night in an elimination game and an opportunity to advance to the Western Conference Final.
Yeah, I'm surprised that McNabb got a suspension, and the main reason for me on that is when you factor in that McNabb was ejected from the game in the first period, that it went to overtime, that he effectively missed an entire game, that the result on the play is a tough one for Ryan Poehling, but I don't look at that hit, and I've watched the angles. I don't see any head contact from Braden McNabb to Ryan Poehling. I would argue that it's the resulting whiplash effect going into the glass that caused
that counts.
the injury.
That counts.
I know it. I know it counts.
You can't take that out of the equation.
I know that it counts, but again, like, that's an unfortunate circumstance.
It's cause and effect.
But not a part of it being a malicious hit. It's a late hit, absolutely. But I felt wholeheartedly after last night that was going to be it, that there was not going to be supplemental discipline, that the game Braden McNabb missed yesterday would be equivalent to what you would look at as supplemental discipline, and there would not be more. I'm pretty surprised, quite honestly.
Looked like the puck was headed towards Poehling and just never got there, to be quite honest. And Braden McNabb was committed to the hit, and that's why he was delivering that check with against a player that did not have possession of the puck, and it was one of those physical hits. And the reality of the situation is they lost a forward that they leaned on pretty good for their defensive structure, certainly, and I don't know. I would be shocked if he came back, quite honestly, in Game 6. So you look at it eye for an eye, and the National Hockey League does not do that. But maybe there's some fairness. I'm just trying to look at it from all angles on this. But I think you could have certainly gone down that path that we've discussed, and been satisfied with the fact that the ejection happened early enough in the game that it amounted to a one-game suspension in itself for the Vegas Golden Knights, on top of the 5-minute penalty kill. And give the PK credit again. Being able to 100%. Get through that with only one goal allowed on that 5-minute major, and the goal happened with about 1:30 to go on the 5-minute major. And if people aren't aware, on a 5-minute major penalty, it's not like the player comes out of the box and you're back to even strength. That's one of those ones that you can score multiple goals, as many goals as you can on the man advantage until the time is up on that. So it was an open door for the Anaheim Ducks to be able to score, and then when they did, and with a minute and a half to go, you're like, it's crunch time. Because one in that type of stretch is okay in the sense of you give up one in a 5-minute span in which you're rolling over your penalty killers over and over and over. Like you're it's not just a 5-minute stretch of shorthanded ice time. It's 5 minutes in a row in which you're you're looping back the two forwards, the two defensemen, and you're down a defenseman. So it was really taxing physically for that 5-minute stretch for the Vegas Golden Knights, and to get through it with just allowing one, and then that last minute 30. They dug deep on that, and were able to survive, because that could absolutely turn the game, bury you.
Sure.
In that situation, and Vegas got through it without taking on a lot of water, and were able to settle themselves down, and ended up being the first comeback win of the series. I know Anaheim tied it late, but it will go down as a comeback win because Vegas allowed the first goal. So check another box on it. We were talking yesterday. We hadn't had an overtime game, and we hadn't had a comeback win. So did we put that out in the universe, and it came back?
Did.
And but going with 5 defensemen for virtually a whole teams have done it before. I think back to Dallas. In series against the Vegas Golden Knights, like Dallas, like on purpose, played 5 defensemen because they just didn't have faith in their sixth guy. But it's not something you generally want to do. More normally, you would see a team play dress 7 defensemen. And just have that extra guy back there, but being able to get through it with 5 defensemen, and one of those guys being such an important piece to your team, to special teams, to your overall defensive categories, almost counts like a half. In Braden McNabb, certainly on the penalty kill,
for sure.
And that was impressive. There was a few layers to that 5-minute major. 5-minute major. Number 2, it was early in the game. Number 3, it was Braden McNabb, your most elite and leaned on defenseman on the penalty kill, and so he wasn't able to kill the penalty, help you get through that, and you lost Braden McNabb after 3 minutes of ice time, and you had the rest of the game to go, and then it goes to overtime. Like there are so many layers that built up on one another last night because of that one specific play that could have caused the game to go sideways. But the resolve of this team, it's impressive. They don't let a lot bother them.
No, they don't. And you can look at last night, and you can look at that moment, and you can view that as one of those big-time opportunities inside of a series that can swing things in one direction or another. Now, the Golden Knights still have to go out and finish the Anaheim Ducks, and they can do that as early as tomorrow. But that was a massive opportunity for Anaheim to put as many goals as they could on the board, to break the game wide open, and to push the Golden Knights on their back foot. And it just didn't happen. Like, the penalty kill for the Golden Knights in that moment was amazing. They won a ton of battles. They pressured really smartly. They just did the job. And even though the Ducks scored, I do liken it to 2023 against the Edmonton Oilers, where I believe it was Keegan Colasar took a 5-minute major in that game, and the Oilers scored a power play goal on the 5-minute major, but they didn't get 2, they didn't get 3. It allowed the Golden Knights to keep the game within reach. They were without Alex Pietrangelo in that game as well, and they eventually win the series. It felt very similar, that you have to bend, you don't break. The Golden Knights didn't break yesterday, and it won them the game.
You find a way. And that's one of my new phrases, and we've had it in the past. Like it hurts to win. Certainly was the sort of slogan of 2023 and that Stanley Cup run. This time around, it does feel like find a way is going to be the catchphrase for the Vegas Golden Knights, and that goes from the start of September. I know Torts has come up with that phrase, or offered that phrase more recently, but you can put it in place from this team, this Vegas Golden Knights squad, from the start of the campaign through to where we are right now. is you got to find a way, because it hasn't been pretty at times. You've obviously had challenges that resulted in a coaching change. You've had significant injuries along the way and absences, and continue to deal with that. But you have to find a way, and the Vegas Golden Knights have found a way to be better than they were a year ago. Last night was where their season ended last year, in Game 5 of the second round of the Western Conference playoffs against the Edmonton Oilers. They got past that. They will play Game 6 tomorrow night, and they've also won more games than they did in that second round series. So they have found a way, even though it hasn't been the smoothest ride.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And you're not always going to have a smooth ride in the National Hockey League over the course of a season, in a playoff run. Like, you have to be able to, as you mentioned, find a way to get your game to a place where, you get a special play here or there, you make one extra play, you do something that results in a victory where otherwise it wouldn't have come. Like, those are all hallmarks of really good teams that are able to get it done when it matters the most. And again, it was, as you pointed out, it's not been the smoothest season for the Golden Knights. There have been ups and there have been downs. There have been peaks and valleys. Like, we know all of this, but through it all, I think you build resolve. And that's what you saw from the Golden Knights in the game yesterday. They had the resolve to just kind of deal with what was happening around them in different stages and still come through making the big play.
You hear from John Tortorella in just a little bit. We'll bring you his media availability from earlier today at City National Arena. But up next, it's our good buddy Brian McCormack from the Henderson Silver Knights. He'll stop by on a great day for hockey in the Las Vegas Valley. Yes, the PWHL has arrived and will play next season. We'll get into that as we continue on Fox Sports Las Vegas. Stay with us.
Time now to saddle up with the HSK. Our weekly check-in with the Henderson Silver Knights.
Henderson Silver Knights coming off a second-round appearance in the Calder Cup playoffs, falling to the Colorado Eagles. We'll chat with Brian McCormack in just a little bit. HSK back into the American Hockey League postseason. Wonderful ride there. It was so exciting to see the rink just jammed over at Lee's Family Forum, and everybody all in. I think that's going to have great spillover to next year, and that goes hand in hand with the big announcement by the Professional Women's Hockey League today, as the PWHL has announced an expansion team to Vegas, and they will play out of T-Mobile Arena and Lee's Family Forum. There could be some crossover there, but primarily lower bowl over at T-Mobile Arena as the PWHL expands to 10 teams, and I would love to see it if you can do it here, because things are still we're going into the 10th season of the National Hockey League in Vegas next year. Yeah. And that will be year number 1 for the PWHL. They haven't named a title yet or a team name yet. Yeah. They do have the colors yet, but
colors are awesome.
But it's still new. Like the hockey grassroots side of it is still really new. It was really back in the day. It was a niche sport with what happened with the Thunder and some of the minor leagues. It's still new. I would love to see a 1-to-1 ratio. I don't know whether you can ever get to 1-to-1 boys and girls, but the PWHL is going to certainly help that endeavor. We'll talk about that in further detail and what happened today with the big announcement over at T-Mobile Arena in just a little bit. But first up, let's welcome in. Sorry to keep you waiting there. I wanted to make sure that we got the PWHL and that happening out of the way. Here's Brian McCormack, the voice of the Henderson Silver Knights. You go to the second round, fall in that series against the Colorado Eagles. Good showing. Was it just a simple case of almost running out of gas? You lost Dylan Coughlin, who was recalled to the Vegas Golden Knights. Sapovalov went down early on that series. Good run, but attrition is part of the professional hockey playoffs.
Yeah, Daren, it's funny. That's the exact thing I said during Game 4, and it was kind of bouncing off of Game 3. That's what it looked like, that this was a Silver Knights team that just ran out a little bit of gas. And for all teams, you wonder when it's going to catch up to them. And again, someone's going to be left standing at the end, so someone will handle it best. But with the the Olympics that affected everybody across the hockey world, it affected the AHL's calendar too. And the Silver Knights played, roughly 25 games over the last 50 days of the season. Then you dive into postseason play, a couple overtime games. I do think that was part of it. And, an element of it as well. And it's never as impactful for the players, I think, as the fans think it is when you go to Colorado for a series and you play in that elevation. I think we make a bigger deal out of that than it is, but it's not nothing either. And that Game 3, that was the first road game of the postseason for the Silver Knights. And they had a slow start in the first period, and then they got outshot, I think it was 15-2 in the second period, and weren't able to come back in Game 3. By the time Game 4 came around, it had been a few days, everyone was climatized, but at that point, the toll of Game 3, I think, impacted Game 4. Trevor Connolly got dinged up in Game 4 as well, which made a comeback effort even more challenging. So I think a number of things caught up to them for sure, and none of that was helped by the fact that Colorado's a good team. It's a really good team, and last time I was on this show, we talked a little bit about one of the learning curves for the Silver Knights, and the young guys of the Silver Knights, is that Colorado wasn't going to beat themselves. They weren't going to make the mistakes that would give the Silver Knights a chance to creep back into a game. The Silver Knights were going to have to make those opportunities themselves, and I think in Game 1 they had one power play. Game 4 they had one power play. So. All those things, I think, combined for a really good Silver Knights team that had a really good season, but ran into a really good team. And, sometimes just an injury or two and a little bit of a flat period here and there. It doesn't take a whole lot to put you behind an 8-ball in a series, and that kind of is what happened.
So to that end, when you think back on the entire season and what the Henderson Silver Knights were able to accomplish, how do you sum up the steps taken, the growth within the team this year?
Oh, I mean, it's tremendous on a couple of levels. I mean, for one, you don't want just to have your young guys come along. You want your young guys by the end of the year to be the reason you're successful. And there's probably no greater reason for the Silver Knights being successful than what Carl Lindbaum did in the second half of the season when he was fully healthy again. Kai Uchaz was a 50-point player, and Kai Uchaz was very good last year as an undrafted rookie, and he earned an NHL contract because of it. And I was talking to him a little bit earlier today. Today was the last of the locker cleanouts before guys either go off to their summer plans or if guys are sticking around the taxi squad. Last time they were in the building, I was talking to Kai, and he said coming off last year and the success of last year and getting a contract and wanting to make the most of that, maybe he was squeezing his stick a little tight in the early part of the season. He wasn't playing poorly in the first couple of months of the season, but he wasn't exactly matching last year. Second half of the year, he was tremendous, and he was a 50-point player. So you look at what Lindbaum, Uchaz, what Braden Bowman accomplished this year, and he came back for the playoff run. Ben Hemmerling had a tremendous season. You look at what the young guys did. That put the Silver Knights in a position to be successful. And then on the veteran end of the spectrum, the Megnas and the Davies and the Coughlins came in and were, to the letter, exactly what they were supposed to be. Sometimes you bring guys in and someone will be, we thought we were going to get more. It was a little underwhelming. That wasn't the case here. Those three guys played to the back of their trading cards exactly. And the Silver Knights also got breakout seasons for Tanner Luzinski and Raphael Lavoie. Lucas Cormier is kind of that in between. He's not a youngster anymore, but he's absolutely not old. On his second contract, he had a tremendous step forward season after injuries riddled all of last year. I mean, a lot of guys had step up seasons. So whether you're looking from a straight prospect perspective, or you're looking at guys who are still trying to fashion the way in which they can be NHL everyday guys, there aren't too many players this year where you look and say they came up short.
Brian McCormack's with us on the VGK Insider Show on Fox Sports Las Vegas. I might continue to call you, by the way, right on through to the end of the season. Even though HSK are done, I like hanging out with you that much.
Well, I enjoy hanging out with you. You're my favorite, and I'm wildly available now. So even when the show goes on vacation, like if I don't get a call at 4:25 on a Wednesday, I'm gonna be like, "What's he doing?" I know he's not busy.
Do you know that the text is going to come from me or Jared ahead of time, or do you sit there and go, I wonder if they forgot about me today?
I usually know it's coming. The funny thing is, I know when the conversation happened on your end, because I'll get the text from Jared saying, "You good for 4:30 today?" And I'll say, "Yep, I'm good." And then 5 seconds later, I get the text from you. "I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. Are you around today? Are you okay?" Which I really appreciate you faking a belief that I've got some sort of robust social schedule. I'm just sitting here alone, staring at my phone in the corner, waiting for it to light up for you guys to summon me to talk Silver Knights hockey. So I do appreciate you feigning ignorance that I have anywhere else to be or anything else to do.
Hey, what was it like doing your job this year after welcoming in Merritt to the family and being a dad this year?
Well, I'd hand the phone to my wife, but she hates when I do that when I'm on the show with you guys.
Yes, we've done that before.
She doesn't have the proper training.
Yeah. We are not.
No,
but seriously, like there's different challenges. Danny Webster did a wonderful piece in the RJ this weekend.
Yes,
just acknowledging what Ashley Weiss went through in giving birth mid-season and balancing being a mom and doing her job with the Vegas Golden Knights and having Jameson and Nick, by the way, as well. I don't want to forget about him, but it also goes to you. Like you're on the road, you're home. You're trying to do your job to the best of ability. Was it more of a challenge, or did you just find your way into a rhythm and it was great?
No, it was in a good way, but I can't compete with what Ashley was doing, and that's because my wife is an absolute superstar, and I know every husband in sports says that, but it really is extraordinarily true. First of all, I can sleep through anything. You can set up a hand grenade next to my head, and I will sleep through it. And my wife, under the belief that there's no reason for both of us to be zombies, there were times when I would wake up and be like, "Oh, that's great, he slept through the night." And she'd say, "No, he woke up 4 times." And I was like, "Oh, you should have woken me up." And she's like, "Well, I was already awake from your snoring, so I figured I'd just go get him." So
did you really not hear him, or was it like the dishes in the sink where you just walk by and go and pretend like you didn't see them in the sink? Because there's always that.
No, I don't hear. You're right, Daren, because I don't hear the dishes either.
No.
But no, and again, it certainly wasn't a one-sided affair. I was up with the baby plenty in the middle of the night, but when you're coming back from a Friday, Saturday back-to-back, and I'd get home at 1 a.m. and I'd go to bed, and I'd wake up at 7, I'd be like, "Hey, nothing happened?" And she's like, "Nothing you need to worry about." So that made it easy to fight the nocturnal battles. But I will say the biggest change, I'm sure every parent can experience this or can attest to this. I learned how to do my job a very specific way over the last 10 years, which is to say, I kind of pour everything into it, and that's why you have to marry the right people in this business too, because they understand when some nights there's extra things to tackle and you're going to be at the office until 10 p.m. because it's just one of those nights, even if it isn't a game night. That's how I used to be. Like, "Hey, honey, the next couple of days, it's like studying for finals. The next couple of days, I'm just pouring it all in. Yep, go ahead, go for it." I couldn't do that this year. Because of course, parenting is for us as a 2-person job, and she absolutely needs my help. And not to mention, when you're on the road for 2 weeks at a time, you're not allowed to disappear to the office for 3 more days when you get back. But in addition to that, our little guy, spends so much time with mom, but he does daycare too. So there's certain days when, I drop him off at daycare at 7 a.m. or whatever, and he gets home at 4 p.m. and he goes to bed at 7 or 8. You got to get home in the afternoon. That's the quality time you get with him for a couple of days until the weekends come. So I guess I was far, far, far less of a workaholic this year, while still having to get all the same stuff done. But that's what being a parent hopefully can do for you, I suppose, is if anyone ever says you should have more work-home life balance in your life, have a kid. That'll make it happen.
That's my experience too. So you're right on the money there, Brian. To that end, then, like, what's the summer look like for Brian McCormack? I know you want to like hang out and have these conversations, but how do you recharge after an incredibly long season?
Yeah, I'm still watching 6 hours of hockey every night. I guess that doesn't go away. The only difference is I have no responsibilities with this one. But the funny thing is, again, with the little guy, we don't want him absorbed in screens too much, like every other parent probably contends with now. But sports are the exception. I don't need him watching flashing strobe lights, but he can watch 6 hours of hockey with me. That's different. So he sits on my knee and we watch hockey all night. That's a good unwind. But again, the team just packed things up today. So tomorrow I guess will feel like the first official day of the off season, and it's nice to throttle back. I mean, I don't golf. I should, but I don't. I don't know if I have any summer hobbies to pour myself into, but there's so much that goes into preparing for next season. We don't have to start at 5 minutes after the final buzzer, but at the same time, it kind of is nice to do that at a little bit more of a leisurely pace, a little bit more of a thoughtful pace. Just kind of pick your head up, look around, and have those conversations like, hey, are we working hard? Are we working smart? So that's all part of it. But, in terms of my downtime, he'll be playing with a baby, a little bit of family time, hopefully, too. My family's scattered all over the country, so you try to catch up with people as best you can. And aspirational things. Maybe I'll read a full book cover to cover. I really think I can do it if I set my mind to it.
It's good to have goals. The amazing positive part, there's two. There's what the players just went through and getting that experience of being in the Calder Cup playoffs. So does help when and if the transition takes place up to the Vegas Golden Knights. They participated in an urgent environment. But then there's the business side of it with the Henderson Silver Knights. And without going too deep in it, the crowds were exceptional in these two playoff series against San Jose and Colorado. And there's a real opportunity here to capitalize on some of that excitement.
Yeah, sure thing, Daren. On top of that, too, is I think from the business perspective, a big part of this year, and, it's an exercise you do constantly and you try to do better at. Hopefully it's an upward trajectory with those efforts. But, Gabe Mirabelli and Cole Miltenberger and that group wanted to listen to fans and give them what they want, try to start meeting them in that direction. Because it had been a few, rough seasons on the ice, and fans want to know that that's going to improve, but also that the value of what they're committing to with their time and with their fandom is being served to them. So, this year there were new value deals for concessions and the free parking, things like that. Just trying to meet fans where they were. Those conversations will continue. The thing is, as you mentioned, as the season went on, as we got into playoffs, fans were falling in love with this team. Maybe fans who had sent their attention elsewhere the last couple of seasons started looking back towards Lee's Family Forum as a great place for their entertainment dollar. And, when fans are upset and frustrated, they'll let you know. But when fans are happy and see progress and see growth and see something moving in the right direction, they'll let you know too. And I think the nice thing is fans are enthusiastic, fans are excited about the team, fans are excited to come to the building, and with that excitement, they're going to tell us why. And we'll continue to hear things that can make that experience better. So, the on-ice success is outstanding, and the resulting fan optimism not only means a better hockey night for them, but also means more opportunities for them to talk to us, tell us what they want, and us to continue making that experience better and better.
Brian, I'll lean into, you mentioned progress and growth. Ryan Craig, right? Like you've been able to watch him grow as a coach, a head coach for the last couple of years. What was this season like for him?
It was tremendous. It started last January of 25, when this team, it was exactly the halfway point of the 24-25 season that we started seeing a winning percentage like we saw this year, a fourth place type points percentage. and there just wasn't enough time to dig out of that hole. But that was where you first saw the impact of Ryan Craig's message getting through. And I asked Ryan about that this morning because this journey to being a competing team has been a 3-year journey for that whole coaching staff. Jamie Heward, Brent Kisio, they've all been together. Fred Brathwaite and Summit Singh on that ride together. So, I asked how rewarding it was to see a team, culminate with this kind of a postseason run. And he said, well, it was a slow build. It took time. But, really dating back to last January, that was where you really saw the impact of the message getting through and the buy-in. The team wasn't playing better just because they magically learned how to score goals or because Carl Lindbaum, something, clicked. That was part of it. Having Trevor Connolly be Trevor Connolly is part of it. Having, Kai Uchaz and Braden Bowman take the steps they took, all that's absolutely part of it. But part of the reason they were able to do so is because of the environment created and because of the structure that this team played in. I'm telling you, there was until Colorado, and that Colorado series could have gone either way. It was 1-1 after 2 games and a double overtime game. It was much more even than a 3-1 series loss. But Colorado's very good, and they handled the series, and they had more gas in the tank, and that's the way that one went. But it wasn't until that series that we saw any team face the Silver Knights where it didn't feel like they were trying to figure something out along the way. We saw the Silver Knights were able to have comeback victories. They were able to have big offensive nights because they just forced so many mistakes. And this was just always a very, very well-prepared team and a team that absolutely believed in what it was doing, that even if it fell behind 2-0, Ben Hemmerling said that earlier today. He says, we'd be down 2-0. I'd look on the bench and I'd be like, we're fine. We're okay. We're going to have enough opportunities to win this game if we capitalize on them. All of that comes from, what Ryan Craig has built here over 3 years. And I'll say another thing, and this kind of feeds into the fan conversation we were just having. I think the biggest accomplishment from this season was, to me, and I think fans, expectation changing. Players always have expectations every season. They should. That's why they're in this business. But the last few years being challenging, I don't think fans went into this season necessarily expecting that this was a team that was going to be the best in the league from Valentine's Day on. And, I think a good thing for the Silver Knights is a lot of these building blocks are coming back next season. There's always going to be change on the roster from year to year, but there are a lot of players who are going to be part of this fold next year unless the VGK decide that they're a better fit in their lineup. But, sometimes a couple of losing seasons, and, you see it around sports, it can get into a little bit of a snowball, and you need to fight your way to get out of it, and that's cultural. Finding ways to expect to win, to know how to win, to not accept anything but winning. And this season, to me, was expectations changing, and I think people feel differently about the VGK prospect pool after this season, and I think Silver Knight fans go into next year thinking like, hey, maybe we can find a way to scrape our way into 7th or 6th. That won't be the expectation going to October. And again, a handful of these same guys will be part of that journey that starts next season.
You want to take up golf? Let's take some lessons together. I could use a tune-up in my game. I don't mind hanging out in the range with you, having some fun. I don't think our instructor wouldn't get as much out of it because we'd be blabbing to each other. But let's go become a couple of range rats.
That sounds good to me. You bring the beer, I'll bring the blindfolds.
Oh yeah, Modelo, baby. I was in a corner store or a gas station the other day, and I looked at the Modelo. I'm like, can I just take that back to the office? Nah, it probably wouldn't work. Seriously, we're going to lean on you right through because you're so much fun to talk to. And we can go different areas. You and I have been texting back and forth about the McNabb situation. So we're going to still lean on you, pal.
I'm always here, guys. Thanks for a great season. Appreciate it.
You're the best. Love them to death. Brian McCormack from the Henderson Silver Knights. Hour number 2 of the VGK Insider Show on the way on Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Live from the Wallace Family Homestead and City National Arena.
Bajo disparo de larga distancia, lo suelta, lo está. No pueden rematar los Golden Knights. Y ahí lo tiene Jack Eichel, sin ángulos, Jack Eichel frente a la red, el disparo. ¡Gol!
This is the VGK Insiders Show. With Daren Millard and Ryan Wallace.
Un gol que le da confianza al equipo de los Vegas Golden Knights para poder ir a Anaheim y tratar de cerrar las cosas allá. Alejandro Robo.
Pavel Dorofeyev en tiempo extra, su segundo gol de la noche, le dice buenas noches.
On Fox Sports Las Vegas.
A lot happening last night in and around T-Mobile Arena, but a couple of things that stood out. Tomas Hertl, you saw the spillover from a goal in Game 4 of the series that may have been in the late going, didn't factor in the result. It made it close, and they did have a chance late in Game 4, but there's never any goal that a player can't take confidence from. And Hertl spilled that over into Game 5 last night, scored again. That's 2 goals in 2 games. And the quote, when Pav scores 1, he gets 5. Pavel Dorofeyev is on another roll, and the Golden Knights have a 3-2 series lead over the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, you mentioned Hertl. I thought their line was good all night long, not just the fact that Hertl scored and it was a massive goal at the time of the game, but I thought Brandon Saad, Tomas Hertl, Colton Sissons together as a trio did a lot of really good things, drove offense, played in the offensive zone quite a bit. I thought that line had a great showing, and, there you go. That secondary scoring I was looking for, it shows up in spades for the Golden Knights, and they win.
Saw a flip in ice time from the third to the fourth line. The fourth line has been carrying more minutes during the course of this series, but Hertl's trio took some of those numbers back. Let's get into the series in further detail. It's the VGK Insider Show on Fox Sports Las Vegas. Daren Millard along with Ryan Wallace, and here's Alexis Downie from the Ducks stream talking about what is a 6-game series that will get back at it tomorrow night at the Honda Center. I've been impressed by Anaheim's ability to defend in this series. So what's your biggest takeaway, Alexis, from the Ducks' performance?
Yeah, I think that is definitely the biggest thing, especially from going from the first round, what we saw against Edmonton, to this is such a different series. But and not only that, but the fact that you've inserted 2 young guys, at least the last 2 games, especially Ian Moore and Olin Zellweger, and the game that Olin Zellweger had, I think that in itself has been really impressive. But it's just been a different game plan for this Ducks team, and they've had to defend more. Obviously, Vegas has got some size to them, and they've been getting their opportunities in front of Lukas Dostal. So I think that's been a great point of emphasis. But overall, I think it's been a little more of a safer play in general versus, they're just go mindset, because Vegas has been slowing them down at points throughout this series.
I really thought that there would be a crack along the way, and that the experience and the structure of the Golden Knights would break through. But Joel Quenneville and his staff and Jay Woodcroft and Ryan McGill have done a nice job just pulling back the reins a little bit. And safe can be death. It can be, but there's also structure that comes with safety.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that, I think that the veteran experience has kind of helped with some of the younger players, and just showing the maturity that they've developed through this playoffs. There's so many of them that are experiencing playoffs for the first time. And, when you have Coach Q at the helm, I think there's just so much trust in him and respect that the players feel it, and they've been able to trust this process too.
Alexis, when you look at this Anaheim team now through 5 games in the series against the Golden Knights, where have they improved maybe from Game 1 to Game 5, and do you feel like there's another level that this team can get to in Game 6?
Yeah, I definitely think that there is even better hockey that they can play. I look at even the little things, the ability that Vegas has had to block and get in the lanes. Anaheim, they're still shooting the puck a lot, but comparatively, maybe not even nearly as much as they were in the first round. And I think about the top line. They've been a little quiet these last two games for the Ducks and Kreider and Carlson and Terry, and especially the last game. So I think that some eyes are going to be on them to step out and have a big game in Game 6. But I think as this series goes along, it was interesting. We loved what we saw from the team in Game 2. I felt like that was a really consistent effort through the 60 minutes, and that was something that they wanted to build off of. And then, Game 3 was a bit of a different story. So, I think that it's just kind of been a little bit of the momentum swings have kind of played a factor in this series, and the Ducks have struggled with some of their details in the game, some turnovers, some little mistakes here and there that have cost them big in this series. And playing down is certainly something they've learned they cannot do against Vegas as much. So, while I think we've seen some areas of their game get better and their play get a little tighter, that more defensive mindset, I do think that there is still another level for them to get to in tomorrow night's game.
Alexis is with us on the VGK Insider Show on Fox Sports Las Vegas. I came on this hour and just talked about how Tomas Hertl scored at the end of Game 4, and a player who needs a goal can use something like that to their advantage and really spark them. And I've as soon as it happened in Game 3, remember Beckett Seneca scored late in that game, and it was pseudo garbage time, but he scored, and I thought that's not going to impact this game, but that's a guy that when he starts feeling it can get it going, and we've seen that.
Yeah, Beckett has really come alive as of late, and it's so exciting because he had a quieter start, of course, to the playoffs, and I think a little bit of it's never been his confidence, because I don't know if I've met a young player as confident as he is coming into the league and to play all 82 games in the regular season and then to have this deep postseason run. It's incredible. But, yeah, I think that for him it was just kind of a matter of finding a little bit more space on the ice and having that shooter's mentality, because he doesn't always, and that's not always been his game, and he'll even tell you that. So I think that when he, was able to break through, and then he's been on this streak here, it's been so important for this Ducks team to have someone that they've been able to kind of lean on offensively lately. And for Beckett, some of his goals coming around the net, just being there, and that's an area that the Coach Q has emphasized, getting in front of Carter Hart some more and creating that chaos in the crease. So it's been awesome to see Beckett Seneca. I mean, even going back to the regular season, and of course we know he was a Calder Trophy finalist and very deservingly goes to Matthew Schaefer. But for Beckett, this was an outstanding year for him, and he's an important piece for this Ducks future.
Yeah, just follow up on that. Talked to Ryan Strom earlier today on 100% Hockey, the podcast with my buddy John Shannon, and we were just going through some of the situations. It's emotional for Stromer to be able to watch a team that he was part of and be able to see it from this side. And he was talking about Beckett and just glowingly, this is the guy that could have played junior hockey this year and is doing this as a third overall pick in 24.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think back to. And, Beckett will tell you himself that he came into the Ducks camp in the beginning of the season having the goal in mind to stay here in Anaheim. And even GM Pat Verbeek, when I talked with him early in the season, he said that, we want to keep Beckett. We want to keep him on what he called a Leo plan, as we saw Leo Carlson do in his first year in the season. And that was not the case, because he continued to impress the hockey ops and coaching staff here in Anaheim. So the fact that he's been able to do what he has in just his first season, and you see glimpses of just his hockey IQ on the ice, it's really exciting. I think that's the best word to use it. And I know Stromer would be the perfect person to talk about it from that locker room perspective, because he was always, giving it to all the young guys. And Becca was certainly on that list when he was around too.
Yeah, and Stromer was great because he said usually when you leave a team, like, there's bitterness there. You're not hoping they lose, but there's you're not jumping up and down when they have success either.
Mm-hmm.
And he said there's none of that right now. He's really happy with what they're going with. So you can pass that along to everybody around Southern California. Alexis Downie with us on the VGK Insider Show on Fox Sports Las Vegas. She covers the Anaheim Ducks as this series is going 6 games, Ryan.
Yeah, I look at Cutter Gauthier, who has been really good the last couple of games for Anaheim. The assists are sticking to him, but I think of Cutter as a guy that's going to put the puck in the back of the net. And I think Anaheim Ducks fans are kind of waiting for that to happen in this series. Do you see glimpses of Cutter getting to a point where that's coming? And if so, how much is it needed for this Ducks team?
Yeah, I think they need him to score some goals. That's something that he was able to do all season long for this Ducks team, and that helped them have success. The fact that he hasn't been able to in this series to this point is a bit surprising. In terms of, I guess, his time on the power play too, because we know that he's part of one of those units. That's where his bread and butter can be sometimes, scoring those power play goals. That one-timer he has, that shot he has, it's phenomenal to watch, his quick release. But I think that in order for this Ducks team, to potentially have success tomorrow night, you got to have guys, whether it's Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson, any of those top guys, they have to be at their best. And I know Ducks fans would love to see him get back on the score sheet in the goals category. But, there have been those moments where, he has been close, and it's good to see him still contributing. And, should that continue to be his role tomorrow, I'd be surprised. But, he wants to score, especially after he didn't shoot on the empty net. So,
yeah. How's Ryan? Do we know?
The update that we got today is he is out, but we don't know for how long. So that is the update there. And just for a little more context, he does have a history of concussions, and that's why he wears a tinted visor. It helps his just the lighting when he's down on the ice. That's why he's been wearing it this season. So just in watching the play and watching, how everything unfolded afterwards, just hoping that he's all right, but he will be out.
I got to ask you, just in terms of this series, the goaltending matchup, Carter Hart, Lukáš Dostal, like through 5 games, what have you noticed? What have you observed? And what kind of game do you need out of Dostal tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that, Carter Hart has been such a big factor for the Knights. And, I think I've personally been really impressed with him. And he's been quite a backbone for the Knights through this series, especially early. But for Lukáš Dostal, going back to the first round, it wasn't his best. And, he's been candid about it, and knowing that, there's been times where he needs, to come up with the bigger saves and everything. I liked his game last night. I thought he looked pretty sharp, and, he's had some big moments in this series, the save on Marner's breakaway. And but I know that this Ducks team is really going to need him tomorrow, because I'm expecting both teams to come out really hard tomorrow. And, I think for Lukáš, one of the things that he's been really good at in as a goaltender has always been his rebound control, and we have been seeing some more rebounds from him. They're rather just not, even with his glove side. I don't know that he's been entirely as sharp. So
it hasn't been clean, right? Hasn't been clean.
Yeah. And it's a bit surprising, I think, because he had some moments throughout the regular season where he would steal a game for the Ducks. So even going beyond this past season, prior season. So it's a little surprising he hasn't been at his top game, but he was really, really good. And I felt like the first 2 games in this series. So as long as he can be confident, I think that'll help this Ducks team. And on the flip side, I mean, like I said, Carter Hart's been really good. I feel like he's been seeing things very well. Now, I do go back to that game 4 when the Ducks took that one. Felt like that one wasn't his best game, but overall, I just feel like he's been one of the factors that the Ducks have been trying to figure out through this series to try to have some more success, and they're trying to get in his eyes, but he's been doing such a good job seeing everything.
Curious to see how that Ducks group is going to respond tomorrow night. The core group, the kids, they haven't been through this before, facing elimination in a Stanley Cup playoff game. They've passed every test so far. They've been great, but it's another challenge in front of them.
Yeah, and that's the, I guess, exciting part of it is that they don't have these heavy outside expectations on them necessarily. Of course, they have the internal team expectations, but there's almost a little bit, I don't want to say it's an advantage, but it's a different mindset when you haven't experienced something and you don't know what to expect and you're just kind of excited and driven and competitive to get out there. And it's actually something that, Coach Q talked a little bit about today. He's looking forward to seeing the response from his team because he has liked the response in this postseason when they've gotten down, and this will be the first. I mean, this is the test for the Ducks team tomorrow, and even we heard Coach Q mention in the post game the other day talking about 2015, that series when he was with Chicago playing Anaheim and down and all of that, and he usually doesn't mention the past as much. So, for him to bring that up and bring those feelings up kind of, I feel like gives you an idea, at least for the team, they know he's been through these types of scenarios. Again, like I mentioned, I feel like there's so much respect there for him. They want to play not only for each other, but also for him. So, I'm looking forward to seeing the energy that the kids bring tomorrow, and hopefully it makes for a good game.
Ryan, last one to you.
Well, I guess kind of your expectations, like understanding that it's do or die, understanding that this is the first time they're facing elimination. What are you expecting out of the Ducks tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm expecting a fast start. That's what they want to do, and I think that they've shown that they can do that. They can bounce back. There was a good energy around the team today in the meetings, and then the short amount of time we were with them. And I feel like, they love playing at Honda Center. I know Vegas has had their success on the road in the postseason, but this team has loved playing in front of their fans, and I think they feed off the fans really well. So I'm expecting it to be a tight game tomorrow. I'm expecting, like I said, a lot of energy from the group and hopefully from the start. And that even trickles down to, like I mentioned, if Lukas Dostal can be at his best tomorrow and have another big game, I think that it'll make for a very competitive game tomorrow night.
People that were down there see the construction on the rink on the Honda Center. When's it going to be? We're working primarily in the concourse right now, but there's other places that are in the plans.
Yeah, there is so much construction around Honda Center right now. It is going to look like a completely new entertainment district. I believe the plan, all of it is supposed to be done by 2028 for the Olympics. But as far as Honda Center, I think maybe it's a year from now, maybe next season. I'm not exactly sure. But they have been moving along pretty quickly with it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's by next season.
This has been great. Really appreciate your insight, and we'll lean on you as we go forward in the National Hockey League. Thanks for doing this, Alexis.
Thanks so much for having me.
There's Alexis Downie from Duckstream, covers the Anaheim Ducks in the Pacific Division. This series is going to go 6 games at least. Vegas can wrap up a second consecutive series on the road in Game 6. If they are victorious tomorrow night, it's an elimination game with Anaheim playing to save their season. So here's how I look at it. Anaheim has been very impressive. They won a little more wide open in the first round, but that was against a team that they could take advantage of that with certain weaknesses of the Edmonton Oilers. And then you have in this series an Anaheim Ducks club that's played far better defensively, far more structure than I ever expected. I didn't see it from the regular season to the first round to see them be able to transition that. And if you ever wonder, if you're like, geez, how much does an NHL coach influence a team? This is a great example of it in what Joel
absolutely.
Quenneville and his staff have been able to do to get this team ready, because I don't think they could beat Vegas playing wide open in a series.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is different. You're facing your potential last game of the season. You've got a young core group. Do they stick with the plan, say they get down a goal, or do they start freelancing a little bit, which would be totally normal for a young group? That will be what I'm looking for. Just a little bit of inside the game to see how many chances Anaheim starts to take as Game 6 gets into the flow.
Do you have an idea of where you're leaning on that? Like, do you think they're going to be
because
more structured
they've been really good so far. So being able to, you'd like to be able to say they're just going to continue with the blueprint. But like the first goal tomorrow night, if Vegas can score that and put a little pressure on them to want to do it yourself, like lead the team back individually, like athletes are want to do. If you can put that in their psyche, that will be an interesting, just the psychological part of hockey to watch.
So there's the way that I look at it, and the way that I think it plays out is that Anaheim has done a great job being structured. They have done a great job playing in a way that allows them to be in this series going to Game 6 with the potential of extending it all the way to Game 7. I think that the Ducks have left some opportunity on the table. They have created chances. They have had opportunities where they've just shot the puck wide. They've missed some open nets. And you can preach that if you're Joel Quenneville, that if you stick with the process and you just bear down and finish some of those chances, you're going to be just fine. You'll be able to score enough goals. So I think
who's saying the same thing? John Tortorella. Because off the rush last night, Vegas had tons of looks, tons of great opportunities, and at times didn't get shots off, or at times didn't get pucks through, and at other times didn't get pucks on the net. And I think that's equal amount Vegas would love to be able to tighten that part of the game up.
I think you're absolutely right. The thing is, I know the Golden Knights aren't going to freelance. I know the Golden Knights aren't going to stray. I know they are going to stick with their game plan of what works. I think if the Ducks stick with it, they're going to give themselves a chance to win. I think if they open things up, if they do try to push and overextend, then it's just going to feed right into the hands of what the Golden Knights do best.
Let's take a break. We will have John Tortorella next, and then we'll slide into one-timers, news and notes from around the National Hockey League. This is the VGK Insider in between Games 5 and 6 of this second round of the Western Conference Stanley Cup playoffs on Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Terry tries to move it to the middle. Eichel still has it. Tries to make a pass across. They score! A cross-crease pass. And Jack Eichel makes the play. The Golden Knights take a 3-2 lead in the series.
You're listening to the VGK Insider Show.
That's the call of the overtime goal from the Anaheim Ducks side of things. A whole lot different as we came on the air today with Jesus and company as the Golden Knights are winning it in overtime. And there's a chill factor to this team. And Jack Eichel continues to get it done. Vegas Golden Knights have the top 2-point producers in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now, with Eichel just behind Mitch Marner, and that streakiness of Pavel Dorofeev scoring a goal, blocking a shot, going to the room, an obvious pain, and then coming back. And he didn't try to. I love it when they say in baseball, he didn't try to do too much with that pitch, just went with it and found a piece of green in right field. Went the opposite way, didn't try to pull the ball. Well, Pav didn't try to do too much with that, just took a swipe at it, and it ended up finding the back of the net.
rips it out of midair too. Like, just unbelievable stuff from Pavel Dorofeev. It was one of those shifts, though, from Jack Eichel, right, where you just got the sense that he was out there on a mission trying to end the game. Tremendous pressure from Jack. Great work on the forecheck. Wins a puck back, gets it over to Pavel. And again, it's a bouncing puck, and Pavel puts it exactly where he needs to.
So here's the situation. 3-2 Vegas in games in this best-of-7 series. The Golden Knights won round one on the road with a convincing performance against the Utah Mammoth. If they follow it up tomorrow night in Game 6, they will advance to the Western Conference Final. Before the team left for Anaheim, we caught up with head coach John Tortorella.
I'm curious how you can use the Game 6 from last round as a blueprint for what you want to do tomorrow night.
I don't even remember the game from last round.
What have you liked about your team through 5 games in the series?
Had some good minutes, struggled at times. Just going to get ready to play another game.
Is it just another testament to when they face adversity, they know how to overcome it, and they do well in those crucial moments?
Yeah, we've talked about this every day, I think, here. They're an experienced group, and they know how to handle themselves.
Was there more to it? You said when you did TV, you were able to watch all the games. Was there more to it when this call came about this team that intrigued you?
I'm not talking about that now. We're in the middle of a series.
The idea of trying to win in different ways is often talked about, but you've done it in this series. Has that been an added impressive point to you?
I think to continue in the playoffs and stay successful in the playoffs, you have to play different ways at different times. You look at some of the past few years, Stanley Cup winners, how different they can play in certain situations, certain games. You need to be able to do it in different ways to try to find your way.
So does this team have an identity in your mind, or is it ever evolving night to night?
Oh, I think this team is a straight-ahead team, and I think can play in different ways. It can play underneath the hash mark. It can score off the rush. I think it defends well. So we have a plan on how we want to play. Sometimes we're on it, sometimes we're not. I think the team most consistently on their game is going to have the better opportunity.
How would you characterize how you won last night then?
We found a way. I thought we played a really good first period. I thought our second period was probably one of the worst periods we've played during the playoffs. But it came back. I thought played a good third period. You never know how a team responds when they get scored on late to get tied. We handled ourselves well in between periods and found a way in the OT.
Find a way.
Yeah, that's what this league is. We can sit here and talk all day long every day about skill and speed and all that. It's a find-a-way league.
What worked well in that start in the first period? Where did you play?
Well, I just thought we were skating. I thought we were on toes. I thought we ended up with some scoring chances. We're I don't think either team has any secrets as far as how you're trying to play. Teams try to play fast. Teams try to control the neutral zone. I thought for a number of minutes in that first period we did.
There's John Tortorella from earlier today. Team taking off for Anaheim. This one good thing. Western Conference is a grind for travel, and it depends on, like, if you get the wrong matchup, a crossover matchup. Think Winnipeg and Vegas in first rounds. It can add some serious miles to your journey, and that's just days lost. But what they've been able to do here in Salt Lake City, leave late afternoon, mid-afternoon for road games, leave mid-afternoon for the games in Anaheim. It's been really beneficial on that side. You can do a lot of your body work, whether you want to skate, there's not a lot of practices right now, but workouts in the gym, treatment with the trainers. You can do a lot of that here, and then fly over and have your night over there. It's been real positive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been, as far as travel schedules go, not as much of a grind as what it was even last year, right? You go to Minnesota in round number 1, then you got to go to Edmonton in round number 2. It's very much been a more beneficial situation for the Golden Knights through 2 rounds here, and I think that benefits them obviously as a more veteran team, but also when you start to factor in that again you're taxing some players with more minutes, especially in light of game number 5 where you had to go pretty deep in terms of the minutes for your defensemen. So it's definitely a helpful thing that the travel has not been as wild for Vegas.
Let's get into one-timers.
Carlson left corner, centered, one-timer, score!
It's time for One-Timers. A quick look at news and notes from around the National Hockey League, brought to you by Paul Pata Law. It's not about the injury, it's about the recovery.
Got one game tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs as we look towards the path towards the respective conference finals in the National Hockey League. We could have a second team joining the Carolina Hurricanes into the Final Four as we are witnessing Game 6. Game 5? What game is it between Minnesota? Game 5 between Minnesota and Colorado. If Colorado wins it tonight, that series is over.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's 3-0 Minnesota with 7.5 minutes left in the first period.
On the road.
On the road,
trying to save their season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's certainly not over. Like, the Colorado Avalanche scored 9 goals in a game in this series. They're on home ice. We'll see. Obviously, you expected Minnesota to come out with a big push early on in the game. They are the team facing elimination, so we'll see what happens. But right now it is 3-0 Minnesota, 7.5 minutes left in the first period.
So they scored their first 2 goals a minute and 22 seconds apart after opening the scoring in the first minute of the game. They went to Mackenzie Blackwood in the last game. He was good. But again, like it sometimes having options complicates things. And right. I wonder where Colorado. Do I think they're going to win this series? I do. It'd be a great performance by Minnesota if they come back, and I think it's well within their reach. As great as Colorado is, teams have come back from 3-1 down before. But as Minnesota extends the series, it just puts more questions into what Colorado is going to do with their goaltending.
Well, I think that's going to be the biggest question, right, for Colorado going out of this game. Like, listen, if it ends up being 3-0, 4-0, or they just end up winning the game, I think you have to go back to Scott Wedgwood, right? Because you go to Mackenzie Blackwood if he has a poor game or 3 goals on 9 shots, haven't seen the goals, haven't seen the run of plays, not really sure if they're all on Mackenzie or some combination of defense, whatever the breakdowns are. I just think that you now have a new variable in the situation, whereas I obviously the Minnesota Wild, it's Jesper Wallstedt the rest of the way. Like, I don't see a scenario where they're not going with Wallstedt. So now you've got to question a variable in Colorado that, if you go to the wrong goaltender, you might find yourself in a Game 7. Not ideal.
Other news around the National Hockey League that we want to update people on. We'll loop back. Braden McNabb has been issued a 1-game suspension by the Department of Player Safety for his interference major yesterday in the early goings of the first period of the overtime victory by the Vegas Golden Knights. So he misses most of last night's game. It was 60 minutes when you consider the overtime. And he will also miss Game 6 tomorrow night. So the Golden Knights are going to have to move things around defensively. They went with 5 last night. The good news is they'll be able to dress another defenseman tomorrow. And we'll see. Odds on looks, you would expect that to be Caden Korczak, but sometimes pairings and different things can play into it. Henderson is done, so they don't have to worry about any of bodies being unavailable to them from that side of things. So we will keep an eye on that going into Game 6 tomorrow on the VGK Insider Show on Fox Sports Las Vegas Thursday at 4 o'clock. Other news, Matthew Schaefer unanimous winner of the Calder Trophy for the NHL's Rookie of the Year. You're scoffing.
No, I wasn't scoffing.
But you're saying like obviously that
it felt obvious.
Except a lot of times these things don't become unanimous because somebody votes some way, and just to make a point. So good on Matthew Schaefer for being the unanimous choice for National Hockey League Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only not the only option, but it was the clearest option for Rookie of the Year. Matthew Schaefer was phenomenal. He was amazing. He was a big proponent and big reason why the Islanders were able to hang around, push to the very end to try to make the playoffs. I mean, listen, I think he's dynamic. I think he's tremendous. Scored a bunch of goals. He was that guy. And no disrespect to the other finalists, like Beckett Seneca had a great year. He was not Matthew Schaefer. Matthew Schaefer was on a different level from every other rookie, and it was pretty clear if you just kind of paid attention.
Right. But the unanimous people will vote sometimes with their hometown market. Like, could Montreal have got a first-place vote out of that? It wouldn't have surprised me if that would have went down the path. Or the Anaheim Ducks said, Beckett Seneca, I'm going to give him a first-place vote because Schaefer's going to win anyway. But nobody went down that path, so good on them. I'm actually giving everybody credit there. Toronto Maple Leafs announcing today. There's been so much speculation about coaches this week.
Sure.
Edmonton, obviously, in the forefront with discussion about whether or not they will move on from Chris Knobloch. But Knobloch is the coach of the Edmonton Oilers for right now. The Toronto Maple Leafs did make a change today, and Craig Berube has been removed as their head coach with 2 years left on his contract. John Chaika and company and Matt Sundin being the company, have decided to go in a different direction with their bench boss. So they will start anew. No word on the assistants there, what they're going to do on that front, but Craig Berube's time in Toronto only lasts a couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm terribly surprised, just because you've got a new general manager. You would imagine that you kind of want to put your guy in.
Well, usually you hold on to that guy and you go,
but
I've got a sort of a card to play on that front.
Yeah, but I like the idea of John Chaika not doing that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I like the idea of saying, like, listen, I've got a plan or the framework of a plan or whatever the case may be with Chaika, and he's like, I'm going to get my guy in here immediately. And I think it's important for Toronto to not waste any time. Like, if you're going into a scenario where you're like, I've got a card to play, it doesn't feel to me, and I'm not suggesting that you're saying he's doing this, but it doesn't feel to me like you are trying to move things forward and utilize your time in the most efficient way. So I think it makes sense. I think it'll be interesting to see who they pick up next, and we'll see where the chips fall then.
I have a prediction on this one. And in Toronto, you generally see experienced coaches.
Go
in there.
For sure.
Like it's a tough market for a first-time NHL head coach.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the last time that they had somebody that was getting the job as an NHL head coach for the first time. But I think I'll go 70-30, the chances that they're going to go with a young guy and a first-time head coach. Just reading the tea leaves and what they've gone about it. You're not going to get any more disruptive or controversial than hiring John Chaika as your general manager. And he looks at things very analytically and different. I think 70-30 that we're going to see something different out of the Toronto Maple Leafs organization than we've seen in a long time.
How do you think that goes over if it's a first-time head coach, and how do you think that influences Austin Matthews?
That's an interesting question. I think Austin Matthews will be. We talked about this today on 100% Hockey with John Shannon. He'll be consulted along the way, but I think Austin Matthews' decision is going to be independent of this coaching hire. He's going to talk to management about, okay, what are we going to do as an organization with our lineup, with our roster. Now, the coach, if the coach has no roster, it's a rebuild. Well, it doesn't matter if it's a young guy or old guy, experienced guy or not. You're not going to have great success. I think that's more what's going to influence Austin Matthews' future with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's
fair.
fair.
Do you see the Sedins are going to take over the Vancouver Canucks? Ryan Johnson's going to be the general manager. Everybody thought that was going to Evan Gould from the Boston Bruins, the assistant general manager. Like, there was people saying it was done, that Evan Gould was going to be done. Instead, Ryan Johnson and the Sedins running that organization.
Yeah, I dig the fact that it's the Sedins. Like, they are Vancouver Canucks through and through. I think there's a lot of goodwill in terms of the fan base with Henrik and Daniel. So, listen, they gave everything as players, and I have no doubt they'll give everything as part of the organization to try to make them better.
Let's take a break. That's One-Timers. Final thoughts ahead of Game 6 tomorrow on Fox Sports Las Vegas.
I'm on fire over here, lads. Come on, I need some back and forth. Come on, what do you got for me? What do you got for me? Now make it quick. Make it funny.
We're down to the wire. It's the last minute of play.
Congratulations, everybody, over at T-Mobile Arena. Took part in the unveiling of the PWHL expansion franchise. Las Vegas has been granted one of the two teams that will begin playing next year. It's a 30-game schedule, 15 home games. The games will be primarily at T-Mobile Arena. Option, obviously, is Lee's Family Forum. Sounds like they're going to do Lower Bowl over at T-Mobile Arena. The color scheme is awesome. Don't know the team name. Don't have a logo yet, but a lot of excitement. And just from the minor hockey side of things, it's exploded here, minor hockey. But we're still relatively new. And if we could get like a 1-to-1, that's a stretch, that's a reach. But if you could get 1-to-1 boys and girls playing hockey, because it's so new here, it's impossible to do in Vancouver or Chicago or anything like that. But it's something that I would love to strive for, even if you got to a 60-40 type thing.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that would be fantastic, right? And I think the fact that you are going to be able to, look at it from a grassroots perspective, and if you've got a young girl that wants to play hockey, they're going to be able to watch and representation of what they could potentially do with the sport in your home arena. You get to cheer on a team. Like, it's a tremendous thing. It's fantastic for the city. It's fantastic for the PWHL and for everyone involved. And I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Another home team for the Las Vegas Valley on the professional sports side of it.
And green and gold, like, tremendous color scheme. I love it.
Yeah, like desert landscape-ish.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean, listen, you spend any time in Vegas, you look around, you're going to see some green, you're going to see some gold. It just makes a lot of sense to me.
I saw some going out to Red Rock today, Calico. So beautiful right now.
It really is.
Except for the hills. If I could get rid of the hills, that'd make cycling a lot easier. Just saying.
Yeah, but that's why you're a potential athlete.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. And then people go whizzing by me on their e-bikes. Stick a stick in their spoke.
Cheaters.
Total cheaters. Cheaters. I should yell at the next. They're just trying to get some sightseeing in. Cheaters.
Yeah.
Talk to you tomorrow ahead of Game 6 on Fox Sports Las Vegas.